And saw firsthand the impact of these swirling winds and the embers and the number of structures that are destroyed, of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders.
This might seem rare, but this is something that we've been experiencing more and more lately. And as these fire seasons keep going on, they just keep getting extended to pretty much almost year-round at this point.
What you're seeing tonight is really the local, region, and state coming together and saying, you know what, there's a major disaster happening in Southern California. We need your help.
The smoke just got really bad, so I just started packing up all of our stuff, and we got in the car to go. And then all the cars were abandoned, so I had nowhere to go, so I just had to get out of my car and start walking. The smoke is so bad. I have no idea where we're going.
We threw everything we had at it really quick. We knew that if we didn't get it in 20 minutes, it would go to hundreds of acres.
And I've seen tons of fires. This is nothing. I'm scared for my life. It's terrible.
Households threatened, it's approximately 10,367. Structures threatened are approximately 13,208. At this point, we feel very blessed at this point that there's no injuries that are reported. We do have reports of multiple structures that are damaged. Since the beginning of this fire, I've been in constant communication with Mayor Bass, as well as other city leadership, who's working very, very closely. As you can see, this entire entity behind me, we're working seamlessly and closely to ensure that we are protecting lives and property first. So with that, we'll go ahead and introduce the next speaker.
Thank you, Chief Crowley. The next speaker will be the Los Angeles County Fire Chief Maroney.
So good afternoon. My name is Anthony Maroney. I'm the County of Los Angeles Fire Department Chief. Shortly after the start of the Palisades fire, LA County Fire did assist the City of Los Angeles with a first alarm brush assignment. At 11:30 hours this morning, our LA County Fire Department went into unified command with the City of Los Angeles, and at 12:30, our CAL FIRE partners from the state went into unified command with not only LA City Fire, LA County Fire, and LAPD. Currently, LA County Fire is providing aerial resources to fight this brush fire, including our Firehawk helicopters, our CH-47, part of our nighttime QRF resource that we have, in addition to our CL-415 Super Scoopers. We also have 3 engine strike teams assigned and almost 100 LA County Fire personnel. I want to let all of the viewers and listeners know that we are not out of danger. The National Weather Service has predicted that the winds are going to pick up and get worse. We're going to have the most significant wind event between 10 p.m. this evening and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's incumbent that everybody have a wildfire action plan for their home if they live in a brush-covered area. Please visit the LA County Fire Department website for Ready, Set, Go information. So that's fire.lacounty.gov/RSG. And for the most up-to-date incident information and emergency preparedness information, go to lacounty.gov/emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. During emergencies, always by our side is our friends from law enforcement. So we'd like to invite LAPD Chief of Police Jim McDonald.
Thank you very much. We are here in a support role to our fire partners. Just a quick rundown. We have over 100 officers here deployed, another approximately 60 ready to be deployed once a mission is given to them. So far, the major job for our people have been evacuation, traffic control, allowing ingress and egress to emergency vehicles, and those can be helpful. I would have an ask that if you would, please do everything you can to open up the streets so we can get the resources we need to be able to deal with this emergency. Please take this wind emergency very seriously. As you heard from the speakers before me, this is something that is going to get worse throughout the night. So we all have to look out for each other. Areas of evacuation so far, about 30,000 people have been evacuated from a total of 10,000 households or 15,000 structures to include businesses and other buildings so far with no injury. So we're very thankful for that, but we truly ask for all assistance that we can get in making this as smooth as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McDonald. I would also like to call up LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, please.
Thank you. My deepest thanks to the first responders who are working tirelessly to fight this Palisades fire. Moments ago, Chair Barger signed LA County's emergency proclamation for this fire, for the severe wind event and all of the fires related to it. As the National Weather Service predicted, this is a life-threatening situation. To our Palisades and Topanga community under evacuation order, please leave. Ensure your home is unlocked, the power is off, and making sure first responders can easily access the structure. This is essential to keeping you safe and to allowing fire and first responder personnel to do their work. For our unincorporated communities in Santa Monica Mountains, including Sunset Mesa, Topanga Canyon, and Malibu, all under evacuation order and evacuation warning, please ensure you are checking emergency.lacounty.gov and heeding all door-to-door information from our LA County Sheriff and Fire Departments. Thanks to our partners at the Topanga Coalition for Emergency Preparedness, who work year-round to practice evacuation drills and emergency preparedness, and they're working tirelessly right now to ensure information is shared across Topanga. For those with livestock, the evacuation location is Pierce College. For those needing small animal evacuation location, the Agora Animal Shelter is available to you. Thank you to Governor Newsom for your quick support and coordination. Thanks to Mayor Bass, to Councilmember Park, and all of the council members in the city, and all of our partners, city, county, and state, unified and working together to keep people safe and address this fire. The county and city of Los Angeles have a lot of experience in unified command. This emergency is no different. We're dedicating every resource we can to urgently contain this fire. I want to extend my gratitude to the Los Angeles County Fire Department, the Sheriff's Department, the Office of Emergency Management, and all of our county partners. I know LAUSD officials also wanted to be with us, but given the conditions, that was challenging. A few school updates. Topanga Elementary at Woodland Hills Academy will be relocated all week. Palisades and Marquez Elementaries will be relocated at Brentwood Science Magnet for tomorrow. Paul Revere Middle School will be relocated at University High tomorrow. Pali High School is not in session this entire week, and Canyon Elementary will be relocated at a location to be determined. To those affected by the Palisades fire, I know today is terrifying and it is painful. Please know that you are not alone. The County of Los Angeles and all of our partners are here together to stand with you and be in support of you. Thank you again to everyone who is contributing resources to this incident. Your partnership is appreciated and it is essential to keeping people safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next, we'd like to bring up Los Angeles City Council President Marquis Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much. I just want everybody to know that since this morning, about 7 a.m., I've been in direct communication with Mayor Bass, who's on her way home from a diplomatic mission on behalf of the United States government. She will be here within hours. Also, we want everybody to know that the city is well prepared and has a tremendous emergency management infrastructure who has been on the case since 6 this morning at the beginning of this wind event. I'm proud to say that we have some of the best men and women anywhere in our fire department, our police department, as well as their partners across the state and across the county. I am also want everybody to know that as acting mayor and president of the LA City Council, along with the county, and we'll hear from the governor later, the city of LA is declaring a state of emergency through this wind event, and we'll have all resources on deck. And our ask, our personal ask, and we'll hear from the council member from this district, but if you can stay off of our roads, please do so to allow emergency vehicles to go across the city. And also remember, we'll continue to drive this home. The worst and most severe part of this wind event is yet to come. So if you're around the city and you have been spared, be thankful, but also be on guard. Bring your lawn furniture in, and again, help us by staying off the roads. And I will ask the council member from this district, who's been on the street since early this morning, making sure the neighborhoods have the information that they need and resources that they need, to come to the podium, our own Councilwoman Tracy Park.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, and Council President Harris Dawson. I want to begin by thanking all of our public safety partners. LA City Fire has over 250 firefighters on the front lines in the hillsides right now, actively fighting this fire, supported by more than 100 firefighters from LA County Fire, as well as additional resources from Orange County, Ventura County, CAL FIRE, and neighboring cities, including Arcadia and Santa Monica. I also want to thank our partners in law enforcement for their terrific coordinated response with us today. LAPD, LA County Sheriff's Department, CHP is here, as well as our park rangers. Obviously, the scope and scale of today's fire here in the Palisades has been terrifying. We are so incredibly grateful for the swift response. And to my constituents here in the Pacific Palisades, I want to reiterate, this is not a drill. This is an actual public safety emergency. Areas west of Mandeville Canyon and north of Sunset have been ordered for evacuation, so please make sure that you are packed and ready to go and complying with all directives being given to you by law enforcement and our partners at the fire service as well. LA City is activating emergency shelter at Westwood Recreation Center. People in the Palisades who have been displaced by today's events are invited to go there. We are working with animal services to receive and care for pets that are being displaced as well. And as additional resources come online, we'll be providing those updates for you. Local residents should follow along for additional information and updates through official city channels, as well as LAPD, LAFD, and LA County updates, as this is a dynamic situation. This is a fast-moving and growing fire at over 1,200 acres at this point. And with the predicted wind patterns and continued weather event, we expect the situation to continue through the evening. It may take our partners at Fire a couple of days to get the situation under control. It may be some time until people are allowed to return to their homes and residences. Please bear with us through this period as our public safety partners work hard to protect lives and property and ensure that this area is safe before people return. In the meantime, if anyone needs additional assistance, I would welcome them to reach out to me and my team. All of our contact information is at cd11.lacity.gov. Thank you to my friends and constituents, and thank you to all of our partners, including Governor Newsom, for being here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We'd like to now ask Council Member John Lee to please speak.
First of all, I just want to thank all the firefighters who are on and first responders that are fighting this fire right now. Also, a big thank you to all the organizations throughout the city, county, and state that are assisting our firefighters in what they need to do today. As chair of the Public Safety Committee, it's job to monitor situations all throughout the city of Los Angeles. And the most important information that I can share with you today is to all of our residents. As soon as we get any new information, we are trying to disseminate that as quickly as possible. It's important that you listen to that information. As someone who represents a district that is commonly affected by fires, I'll tell you one of the issues that is we ask our residents to do is, if you're asked to evacuate, if you're asked to stay off the road, whatever it is that we're asking you, if you're in one of those affected areas, that you don't create additional problems for our firefighters, so our firefighters can focus on what they're supposed to do, and that's getting this fire out. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Council Member. And now we'd like to ask the Governor, Gavin Newsom, to please speak.
Thank everybody. Hell of a way to start a new year. Again, let me add my voice, the voice of so many others, and extending deep appreciation to the men and women in uniform across jurisdictions. I want to thank, in particular, Chief Crowley and Chief Maroney for your outstanding leadership, Police Chief, Sheriff's Office, all of our local law enforcement agencies that work hand in glove. There is simply no better mutual aid system anywhere in the United States of America. And you're seeing it now at scale once again here in Southern California. I say once again because we were here not too long ago, the Franklin fire. A few weeks prior to that, the Mountain fire. November, December, now January. There's no fire season, it's fire year, it's year round. And it's incredibly important that we heed the warnings, the calls, that we're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. You may feel at home that you're fine down in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, down in Ventura County, other parts of the state, but there's a reason we pre-positioned hundreds of assets and personnel on Sunday in anticipation of this wind event. 110 engines specifically were sent down, 45 by CAL FIRE, 65 through our mutual aid system through the Office of Emergency Services, water tenders down here, 7 new helicopters we brought from Northern California down to Southern California. We just brought our C-130 down from Northern California. It already just had its first drop. By no stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods. You heard the chief say 10 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. tomorrow will be peak winds. And having just quite literally an hour or so ago gone up the canyon and saw firsthand the impact of these swirling winds and the embers and the number of structures that are destroyed, not a few, many structures already destroyed, and the fact that people were still not evacuated, still did not heed the warning, we're just coming down the canyon, is a reminder of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders. We've all been to memorials. I've never been to a memorial for a building, but for family members and loved ones. I know you cannot say this enough. It's foundational. One other thing I want to say, because you can't say it enough, is expression of gratitude. The President of the United States happens to be in town. It didn't take more than a text message to get the FMAG approved, which means we're getting reimbursed for the vast majority of these costs. No politics, no hand-wringing, kissing of the feet. The President of the United States said, yes, what else do you need? Emergency proclamations being drafted as we speak. And I just want to thank the President because that's something I don't take for granted. It's something we should not take for granted at this moment in American history. So thank you, President Biden, as well. Final point. We encourage you, you heard all those websites. I don't want to burden you with any more except one. Fire.ca.gov. And why do I say that? Nothing like it in the country. It's nothing like that we've seen in any jurisdiction around the world. 3D maps and live cams on fire.ca.gov. It also will show you the evacuation orders. I encourage people to take a look at that site for information. And of course, ready.ca.org to make sure that you're prepared as we work through yet another extraordinary month in this fire year, perpetual fire year here in the state of California. Thank you again to all of the folks behind me and the outstanding leadership of all the elected officials as well. And forgive me, one point I'd be remiss. Thank you to Mayor Bass, who was on the phone immediately this morning, making sure even in absentia that she's here organizing everything she can to make sure we're successful as well.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate that. We'd like to open this up now for Spanish, and then we'll go to questions. So we'd like to have Public Information Officer for LAFD, David Ortiz.
Buenas tardes. A las 10:30 de esta tarde comenzó un incendio en la comunidad de Pacific Palisades en el municipio de Los Ángeles. Este incendio rápidamente se propagó a más de 700 acres. Han habido la orden de evacuación para 30,000 personas en esta área y pedimos al público que siga la dirección de la policía en las áreas que está siendo evacuada, ya que su vida sí está en peligro. Pedimos su cooperación. Este incendio no es típico de esta magnitud y de este poder y potencialmente puede quitar vidas. Por eso pedimos al público que siga la dirección de los oficiales que están en el área. Cuando le dan la orden de evacuación, siga esa orden de evacuación. Estamos en comando unificado entre el municipio, la ciudad de Los Ángeles, el condado de Los Ángeles, el estado de California, y se han hecho recursos disponibles a través del estado de California para apoyar este esfuerzo para apagar este incendio. Esperamos que este incendio va a ser de larga duración y agradecemos su paciencia y su cooperación. Se espera que los vientos van a aumentar esta noche y por eso, si no ha evacuado esta área que es de Merrimack a la calle Topanga y Mulholland al Pacific Coast Highway, por favor, evacúe en este momento. Es hora de evacuar. Gracias.
Thank you, Dave. And when we open this up, if you have a particular member that your question is directed to, please go ahead and mention that individual in addition to your question. Chase?
I have a question for Governor Eaton. Governor, first of all, two-part question quickly. I was actually in Palisades Island earlier today. I know you mentioned that folks weren't evacuating. A lot of people that I was with were in a group up there. We weren't able to get out. So that emergency
shelter in place. This area is under an evacuation order, but earlier today the fire, they say, jumped Palisades Drive, and this is the only way in and out. Firefighters just thought it was too dangerous to be getting people down this canyon, so they pushed everyone who was on the north side of it up and everyone on the south.
No, I will leave that to the folks that are organizing. Maybe Chief thoughts on that specifically.
Sure. So the specific question was in the Palisades area or the Highland area, you said, where it was challenging for the constituents to evacuate. We did push out information for people to evacuate. Now, the lean forward posture, and I want to talk about that first and foremost, was communicating the potential threat of what was coming. That information was out. It was out early in regard to everybody be ready, set, and go. When that go order came out, at that point, that is that very important point where the public can and should heed that warning and start to evacuate. Now we know there's limited access and egress in certain areas within the hills right behind me. So with that, that's what we believe did happen. People did evacuate. It was slow to evacuate. What I have been briefed on is that the evacuations were slow, but they did occur, and we will follow up on that if there's anything better in the future that we can communicate to the constituents and continue to train to that, because the evacuation order, we can never do it early enough. So with that, we want to continue to work with the community, ensure that when that evacuation order happens, that they can evacuate in a timely manner. But we understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And just one other question, this is for the governor.
Sure.
You mentioned the current administration. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but what's your message to the incoming administration about what you just saw here today, given that that's going to be part of, we know that there's city collaboration, state and federal collaboration.
Well, we're all in this together. None of us are asking for respective political identities around here. Everybody's rowing in the same direction because everyone gives a damn. They're here for each other, and that's the spirit that defines the best of this state, this country, and no one here is playing politics. We have an American president and Joe Biden that recognizes his responsibility in times of emergency. When Americans are in need, he steps up, he steps in. It's not qualified by a particular request or an expectation. And so, again, I say what I said because at the moment I don't take that for granted, candidly, like I have been the last few years. It's rather precious. And my message to the incoming administration, and I'm not here to play any politics, is please don't play any politics. And there's a time and place for that. And at this moment where your question only reinforces the moments, the precious moments that we have to evacuate, we don't have time for any of that in Michigan.
With the worst winds yet to come, what's the plan in place? Obviously, I know you're probably trying to get as many, boots on the ground as possible, but also in the air, coming from people who are, they literally just left, as you were saying. They were wondering as well why, I know you guys are probably doing everything you can to get as many aircraft, but to drop more water, that's their concern.
So your question's in reference to the increase
the plan in place with the worst winds yet to
resources?
come, and then the aircraft.
Okay.
Yeah, was your question regarding nighttime aircraft operations?
Yeah, just obviously the worst is yet to come at about 10 p.m. and overnight.
Right, so the plan is they're developing a plan for nighttime air operations. It's going to be a combination of LA City fire units, LA County fire units, state fire units, and that quick reaction force of the CH-47s that drop retardant at night. We are going to take advantage of the lower temperatures at night, but with increased wind speed, aerial firefighting becomes more dangerous. There is a cutoff mile per hour wind at which we will not operate at night. Flying during the night is more dangerous than flying during the day. We want to make sure that we don't get anybody killed, but we do want to fly both day and night. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting. If the winds are going to get worse right now, it's going to be very difficult for our aerial assets to actually make a difference for the folks on the ground.
What's the cutoff?
It could be 30 to 40 miles an hour sustained. We do have history of operating with high gusts, but it really isn't effective because as the water exits the bottom of the drop tank, it just gets carried away by the wind and never reaches the ground. So there really is no point to putting people at risk if that firefight isn't making a difference.
Thank you.
Was your answered question?
Yeah, I mean, this is only one fire. We've got, 2 more days of this, too. I mean, I don't know how many resources, how more people you're able to,
well, that's
get
the
up
beauty
here,
of automatic and mutual aid. So there's automatic aid agreements between all of these agencies here. They brought their additional boots on the ground. And as the governor mentioned, we have state mutual aid. So CAL FIRE's come in. We'll get the appropriate quantity and type of resources to mitigate this emergency, and it's an opportunity of neighbor helping neighbor, and we will do the same thing in Northern California when they need it. Yes, ma'am. Sure. So questions about abandoned cars, that's a good question that has come up. Law enforcement assists us heavily with evacuation, but please remember it's an active incident. We don't have the answers to all of these questions. We will certainly look at that. That's very important. I don't know if police felt like they wanted to make a mention to evacuations. Okay.
Yeah, just on that question of evacuations, vehicles left in the roadway. If you have to leave a vehicle in the roadway, get it as far off the road as you can so that emergency vehicles can't get by. The gist of moving them with bulldozers was an emergency situation. You got to get those fire resources through, and they do what they have to do to be able to facilitate that. So we're asking really for the cooperation and think a couple of steps ahead. It's not just your vehicle there, but then others line up behind you as well as they see what you're doing. And so I can't stress enough, please follow the evacuation orders. Do your best to be able to get out to safety. Bring the equipment you will need for the next couple of days with you because, as you've heard over and over again, this is not going to end very quickly. Thank you.
If I could just expand a little bit. On Saturday, state started to convene respective leadership across the state of California at the Office of Emergency Services. We started to pre-position early evening on Sunday in 6 or 7 counties here in Southern California, quite literally moved assets from Northern California into Southern California. Just as an example, moments ago, we had a chance to meet a crew from Santa Cruz and from Santa Clara County that just were deployed up the mountain. Those resources remain pre-positioned currently in other counties in anticipation of the concerns you just expressed and the wind events. We are anticipating, hopefully we're wrong, but we're anticipating other fires happening concurrently. And that's exactly the previous experience we've had with these kinds of wind events. And that's why we continue to provide and supplement those resources from all across Northern California in particular. One final thing, because I think it's important. My phone lights up all the time, including this morning, about people saying, well, where are all the planes? You said you put all these assets, I want to see them. It was important what the chiefs just said. We could be up there all day making people feel good, but we're not doing any good because that retardant flies all over the place. And so it's not that the planes themselves can't handle the turbulence and the wind shears, it's that simply you're not suppressing anything. And so it is a point, I know, of frustration, but then it also reinforces the preciousness of the hand crews and the men and women that are on the ground holding the line, that are up there as we speak. And that's also part of the specialty units that are part of these larger operations. We have an incident command team that quite literally is organized here in real time, and we're gaming out the next few days with the benefit of something we haven't had in the past, new technology, techno-civil and other AI-enabled technology that allows us predictive capacity in a way we've never had in the past, which is also aiding our efforts to not just prevent in some cases as it relates to early detection, but also prepare to suppress in subsequent incidences.
Yes.
With winds expected to pick up, do we have any projections for where the fire might move next or any areas that might be at risk?
It's been moving in a southwest direction towards Getty, which is moving towards the Los Angeles County Fire Department's jurisdiction. It did begin in the city, and that's the Unified Command. Good.
And real quick, I know you said that there's no reported injuries. Are there any unaccounted individuals? And if so, do you have a count on that?
Not that we're aware of at this point. So that is part of the process. They are having evacuation groups that are looking at that, but we're not aware of any individuals unaccounted for. We did receive multiple 911 calls for a particular address. We did send resources in to rescue people.
What are you telling folks in the west area, Santa Monica, and further south? Should they stay put? Should they keep their phones on overnight? I mean, what should people do who are kind of on the edge here between the fire zone and
Okay, so what are we telling the people south of the fire?
Yeah, just a bit south.
Thank you for asking that question. Her question was, what are we communicating to individuals that are south of the incident? I think it's really, really important for the entire public to understand, as you can see, how dynamic these winds are and how quickly they can change on a dime. So you may think, okay, I'm safe, but the key is the communication, listen for those evacuation orders and warnings, and also be super hyper diligent in regard to what could happen. If an individual within the community wants to lean forward and to say, I'm not gonna risk anything, I'm just gonna go to a different area where it may be safer. Just know from the south, and with the winds as unpredictable as they are, there's very, very much at risk. So we want people to be very cognizant of that, make good decisions, make sure they can understand real-time information, and we will communicate that and articulate that very clearly. But this is very, very, very dynamic. And you can just, by standing here, seeing us with the wind gusts and with the predictability of this wind's gonna get worse tonight. So we want people to lean forward, ready, set, go, and be ready. Thank you.